Hello. So apparently, this little freak can survive quantum entanglement. This is a weird little animal called a tardigrade, and in December 2021, a paper was published that claimed one of them had been quantum entangled with a superconducting qubit and survived. I think that even if you don't fully understand what quantum entanglement is, that doesn't sound very survivable. This was the first time a multicellular organism had been placed in a state of quantum entanglement, and it caused a lot of drama in the world of physics. The experiment raised a lot of questions about what it means for living things to be quantum entangled, and many physicists believe that the creature did not actually achieve quantum entanglement. But in this video, we aren't going to focus on the drama. We're going to talk about how the thing survived, what it can teach us, and why understanding this could lead to a huge range of innovations, from cancer treatments to human hibernation. Welcome to Brain Noises. I'm Chloe. I'm a science communicator and recovering physicist, and on this channel we explore the thoughts and feelings that pass through my mind, generally relating to science, but I cannot make any promises. So what is quantum entanglement and why should we care? Quantum mechanics is physics that provides a description of the physical properties of nature at the scale of atoms and subatomic particles. So that is the main distinction. And you probably are familiar with Newtonian mechanics. That's the kind of mechanics we see every day, F equals ma and all that jazz. You can pause now for the proper definition of quantum entanglement, but very simplistically, and in the case of this experiment, quantum entanglement means that while they are quantum entangled, anything that happens to the tardigrade also happens to the qubits and vice versa. Previously, this has just been done with particle-sized objects, so putting an animal in this state is a really big deal. As described by the paper, quantum and biological systems are seldom discussed together as they seemingly demand opposing conditions. Life is complex, hot and wet, whereas quantum objects are small, cold, and well controlled. So to put a biological thing, in this case an animal, into quantum entanglement, you would need it to match those conditions. You would need it to be small, cold, and well controlled. To achieve this, the researchers placed the tardigrade into a near perfect vacuum and to almost absolute zero. According to one of the authors of the paper, because all the excitations are frozen out, you can actually describe the system in terms of physics. There is no need to describe it in terms of biology. After they finished making the measurements, so I think 17 days later, they depressurized the tardigrade and increased the temperature back to normal temperatures, and the tardigrade lived miraculously. But the conditions are brutal, just over 0.01 degrees Celsius and near perfect vacuum for 17 days. It's seriously low, so how would anything survive that? Tardigrades are microscopic, 8-legged animals, sometimes referred to as water bears. They live in moss all over the world, so people also call them moss piglets. Makes them sound kind of cute, doesn't it? No mammal could survive what a tardigrade can tolerate. Under environmental stress such as dehydration or extremes of temperature, they shrink into a ton state. You can think of it like hibernation, in which their metabolism pretty much stops. In this state, they can survive without water, tolerate high doses of gamma and X-ray radiation, and survive temperatures from minus 272 degrees Celsius to 150 degrees Celsius. They have also breezed through 10 days in the vacuum of space. And in 2017, it was revealed that they can survive complete dehydration by turning to glass. Compared to these conditions, quantum entanglement seems like a walk in the park, sort of. So the reason why most other organisms can't survive these conditions is because the extreme stress just destroys our DNA. But tardigrades have a very special damage suppressor protein known as a D-sup that somehow shield the DNA. In 2020, Marina Minguez Toral and colleagues at the Center for Plant Biotechnology and Genomics in Madrid performed a simulation of the interaction between D-sup and DNA to try to find out exactly how this shielding works. The modelling showed that this protein is intrinsically disordered and highly flexible, so it can adjust to perfectly fit the shape of the DNA. Our study reveals that the electrical effects underlying the positive-negative charge attractions determine the dynamics of the structural changes of DSUP in its interaction with DNA. We believe this electric shielding is paramount in protecting DNA from radiation. So why is this useful? Understanding exactly how they tolerate such high stresses could be useful in a lot of ways. Right now, the applications we're actively working on are the stabilisation of pharmaceuticals and the engineering of stress-tolerant crop plants, says Thomas Boothby, who works with tardigrades at the University of Wyoming. He actually did a really good video on tardigrades. I think it's about 4 minutes long in collaboration with TED-Ed. That's got some pretty cute animations and yeah, just lots of fun info. Other possibilities include hibernation and space travel. So people travelling to Mars could be modified so that they could withstand higher levels of radiation, for example. And in the lab, human kidney cells have been genetically modified to express DSUP from tardigrades. And these cells showed a reduction of 40 to 50% in the DNA damage caused by X-rays. Tardigrades could also teach us a lot about cancer treatment, with Royal Medal winner Professor Mel Greaves arguing that survival traits evolved by the likes of the tardigrade also keep cancer cells alive. So working out what these traits are and how they work could help us figure out how to kill them. Hi, hello, editing Chloe here, looking actually a lot worse than I thought I would. I don't know what my hair's doing there. I've got my work headset on, lol. Basically I realised I forgot to mention human hibernation, so it's sort of considered in the context of space travel because, as I mentioned earlier, tardigrades are like the first animal to survive the vacuum of space, and for things like the trip to Mars, the idea is that even if humans won't be able to hibernate, because there are actually quite a few barriers to that, so like how fast they'll actually be able to get into that hibernation state may affect like how much things are damaged, and obviously just humans are way more complex, so these kinds of things are harder. But anyway, they think that even if we won't be able to like hibernate per se, there are still a lot of tricks that maybe tardigrades can teach us. You know, if we look at similar to the cancer treatment thing, it's like if we look at how they do certain things, we can be inspired by those kind of natural designs, so biomimetics, and engineer things to help us, even if it isn't full hibernation, just like tricks to make us more resilient. So that's that, and yeah. Okay, back to the video. Now onto the big question. What about quantum entangled humans? They have already done experiments allowing humans to see quantum entanglement, so before I get devastatingly cancelled by the world of physics YouTube, I have to state that again, this is quite controversial. The idea is just that a human observer could replace a standard quantum detector because these things are designed to detect photons, and human eyes are very sensitive photon detectors, but a lot of the issues come in because although they're sensitive, you still need to detect, I think, at least about 7 photons before it kind of recognises anything as there. And obviously with entanglement, you want to be able to see individual ones. I will link a quite good Wired article about it that kind of covers it all off, but yeah. Physicists do actually think that at some point maybe humans could be quantum entangled, which I just think is a pretty wild possibility and feels extremely far off, but I'm excited to see whether we get there in my lifetime at least, and what that could mean, because it sounds terrifying. Would you want to be quantum entangled? Anyway, that's pretty much all I have to say on the matter. I really enjoyed researching the weird, wild and wonderful ways that was more alliteration than I even thought I was going to do, of tardigrades. I hope I've actually been saying it right. I did Google it. If you learnt something or want to see more of these videos, please comment, like, subscribe, all of the above, and I will see you in the next one. Goodbye.